Welcome. I hope you enjoy the conversation you're about to see between me and another comedian about religion and comedy. These are conversations I'm calling Disorganized Religion. God bless. And for those atheists out there, may nothing await you after this life.
All right. Hey, what up, nerds? Welcome to Disorganized Religion. I've got the Edelmeister here.
What's
Josh.
happening?
Josh Edelman. Edelman, which do you prefer?
Edelman. I prefer the correct way.
Why? Why do you prefer the correct way of Edelman?
I don't correct people if they say it wrong when I come up on stage because I'm not a novice comic.
You're a nice guy. Why don't you just go for the immediate cheap laugh?
I'm not a nice guy either. I think actually an interesting thing that happens when I date is that girls that meet my ridiculous standard that somehow
Which is
find
low,
their way.
right? It's a very low standard. I've seen who you date. No, I'm just kidding. I haven't
no
actually
one's
at
seen
all.
who I've dated because no one at my standard anymore will date me.
Oh no.
But,
okay, so what's your standard? What's this ridiculous?
Like super hot, but also smart.
Right.
And can like have a conversation, has good taste in movies. Nobody even has good taste in movies, hot or not hot. So like to find both someone with good taste in movies. Because like if you have good taste in movies, you're probably also smart. You're not trying to be a comedian.
Yeah.
I always wonder, like, if porn stars feel about like people they're dating wanting to have sex with them, how I feel about people I'm dating wanting to tell me a joke.
Interesting. I see what you're saying.
I'd say that's
I've been
fair.
trying to develop a bit about being married and talking to people like, you must be bored having sex with one woman only. Like, if you're bored with sex, you're a whore.
Yeah, I guess.
Right?
I guess
That must be.
I guess.
I feel like they're the only people that would be.
I'm bored with.
You're
have
bored
I gotten
with jokes.
Have
is what
I
you're
gotten
saying.
bored with jerking off? I
don't
jerk off.
know.
I jerk off more than I do comedy, and I do comedy more than anyone on the scene.
Jeez. You are hand
true.
skank is what you are.
I'm a hand skank.
You're a hand
I haven't
skank.
gotten bored.
Oh my gosh. So how long have you been doing comedy, Josh?
It's the hardest question in the world to answer.
Yeah.
It's the most. I have the most obnoxious answer.
Right.
Or I could just. At this point, like if I'm trying to not have a long conversation about it, I just say 3 years.
Okay.
Because I feel like I've kind of distilled how long I've been doing comedy into a fair answer of 3 years.
Yeah.
But really, there's like a 12-year period of time that 3 years has been pulled out of.
Yeah.
But like different people will determine I've started comedy at a different point. It could be either anywhere from 12 years ago to 9 months ago.
Right. And what were you doing 12 years ago?
12 years ago, I took a comedy class,
Yep.
and then
In
I did
improv or stand-up?
Stand-up.
Yeah.
I've done improv classes also, but
Yeah.
but stand-up comedy. Like 12 years ago, I took a stand-up comedy class, and then I did like a bringer show once every 2 months.
Right.
No open mics.
Right.
Literally, I would like write everything for this bringer show. It would be completely untested.
Yeah.
I'd like torture all my friends into going watching a bunch of other people doing the same thing as me.
Right.
Spend like insane amounts of money. You could do like 8 fourth walls for what these people spent to come.
Yeah, of course. Now, where did
See
you
me.
start? Where did you start?
New York.
New York. Okay.
New York City. Because if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere.
And now you're here.
I couldn't make it there. So
there's always LA.
So I came out here because if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere but New York.
They're just elitist over there. What was your sense of the...
I can't make it here either. It's been 8 years.
You're making it, Josh. You're making it.
What's next? What's next down? Like if you can make it... So you can't, like, would it be Chicago? If I can make it in Chicago, I can make it anywhere but New York and L.A.?
Maybe. I think it depends on what area of comedy you want to make it in, right?
Yeah, stand up, because improv sucks. Someone once asked me, I mean,
Aren't
listen,
you on an improv team?
No,
Not
I
anymore.
had been,
Okay.
but
I was too. And
I hate watching improv. I mean,
depends
sometimes it blows my mind, like.
Yeah, it's like, wow, right?
But somebody once
right.
asked me, like, what's my least favorite thing to watch?
I
And-
asked you this.
Oh, and I said
This was our conversation when we first met.
Well, it wasn't you that asked me the next question,
Right.
Which was, if like I said improv, and they said, really, you'd rather watch a poetry slam than an improv show?
Right.
And my answer was whichever one has air conditioning.
Yeah, and it has been hot this last week.
I don't know
LA,
if my
so.
hatred of watching improv comes from the fact that like it's frequently done in places that aren't air conditioned, or that they won't turn it on.
Yeah, I feel like that was the running joke with The Office and Michael doing improvs, that he was super sweaty and everybody in the classes that he was doing. Do you remember this part of The Office?
I watched a lot of The Office, but I wasn't like a religious Office
Yeah, I
watcher.
obviously love The Office because I'm like everybody in that show. Travis, you've done improv, right, or no?
Yeah, I started improv when I was like 16.
Yeah, nice. Beautiful. Do you remember the first night we met, Josh? I want to relive this a little bit because it was fairly recent.
It wasn't the first time we ever met.
Not ever met, but like hung out.
Yeah. No, it was a magical evening.
It was indeed.
I went home that night and I was like,
wrote in your diary.
Maybe the Mormon religion is onto something. Maybe they're
That's my goal.
Actually, part of me is convinced that your podcast is just a ploy to convert comedians. You're like, how can I? You're like most Mormons are going knocking on people's. Nobody wants anyone knocking on their door.
Whoa,
you think it's a neighbor complaining,
Yeah.
or just whatever shit is happening. Your phone rings, you see a number you don't recognize, a person's at your door, you don't know who they are.
Right.
Like it's already a bad start.
Total Illuminati.
But what better way to get comedians and be like, hey, you want to come do my podcast?
Yeah.
And then they leave Mormons.
Right.
So that's like, I'm not a Mormon. Look, my
so
button-down shirt and khakis.
I'm so hip right now.
My shirt's untucked.
They're
that's
jeans,
how you know.
though. They're jeans, though.
Those aren't jeans.
They're jeans.
No.
Yeah.
Those are not jeans.
These are jeans.
I'm touching them. That's not a jean.
They're jeans.
That's the most Mormon thing you've ever said. That those are
these are designer jeans right now.
Those are not denim. It's required to be denim. Those are pants.
I'm just not a commoner, okay?
I have one of the things I do is
offbeat comedy.
No, I work for this photo booth company.
Okay.
And they
You're doing this now. You're currently working.
It's one of the things I do. It's one of the many things I do to almost pay my bills every month.
Right.
Right. But they have a rule when I'm doing the photo booth that I'm not allowed to wear jeans. I would be allowed to wear those.
These are okay.
Those would be okay.
Interesting. A little designery, and they're okay.
Can we show the camera your pants? Because I can't see it.
Yeah.
I'll have to stand up.
Stand up
a
for
little
one
bit.
second.
I gotta see. Yeah, those are khakis.
Those are not.
Those are cacked up, bro.
There's
jeans. They're jeans. Okay, they're J brand jeans. They are incredibly.
And also, Cameron noticed the untucked shirt. That's how you know he's no longer part
I'm
of.
so hip.
He's no longer an aggressive.
Rolled up sleeves. I'm not proselyting here at all.
Proselytizer. Prostitute.
The next upgrade for the fourth wall here in Burbank is going to be a font in the back.
Honestly,
I'll pose you the question at the end. If you wish to declare Jesus your savior.
Well, it's funny. Like honestly, this is your second podcast, right?
Yeah, I mean, technically, this will be the second one to air. I've had another person come, but she wanted to redo it.
Oh,
yeah.
Interesting.
She wanted to represent her faith correctly. Which I understand. I understand.
Gotcha.
So we're gonna do it again.
I think I represent my faith very accurately.
Yeah. And what is your faith, Josh?
Hold on, I'll get to that in 1 second. I just wanted to
fine.
say that I'm ready by episode 8 to come back in here and Travis is wearing a button down and khaki jeans.
I'm blonde for no reason.
Suddenly, the fourth wall becomes a clean mic.
Yeah, there you go. I'm just taking over the camel.
I will say Seth is so nice that sometimes I'm like, maybe I should Mormon.
Maybe.
That's the trick. That's the trick of these.
I know.
Of these they seem so. If you've heard my joke, it's actually my joke. I was talking earlier about they're done with the plastic straws soon out here,
right?
But
yeah.
I have a joke about. I grew up in Florida, and it's
oh gosh,
and it's a purple state.
Yeah.
So like I knew, you always hear people saying things like Republicans are evil, Republicans are monsters.
Right.
And growing up, like I knew lots of Republicans, lots of evangelicals, and lots of Democrats, like non-religious or like Reform religious people also.
What does that mean, Reformed religious?
That's I go to
church
you like
when
to
I
go
want.
to temple, but you're also like, I'm not gonna,
Does it only refer
dramatically alter my life?
Does Reformed religious only refer to Jews?
Well, the Jew, if you haven't figured out by now, I'm a Jew.
If you didn't figure out why we look so similar. Yeah.
Well, there's like Orthodox.
Right.
Well, there's like Hasidic.
Right.
Hasidic would be like evangelical Jew.
Yeah.
Then there's like
I don't
Orthodox.
think there is any equivalent level, honestly, for
Hasidic
Hasidic Jew.
What you're saying? There's no equivalent level
in the Christian side of
Hasidic
things.
Jews, like Westboro Baptist Jew.
Okay,
It was Amish.
Perhaps.
Amish is Christian, kind of.
Yeah. Is Amish a sect of Christianity?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Hasidics
anyhow.
are like the Amish of Jews.
Sure.
I actually worked at, like, when I was in college, I interned at Martin Scorsese's production company.
Oh, okay.
The only time he ever talked to me in the year I was there was to ask me questions about the Hasids in Brooklyn that he would like see as like his driver would drive him to set for The Departed.
Wow. And did you have answers for him?
I pretended I did.
Okay.
Because like it was like a dream that he was talking to me. I didn't have an answer, but I made something up. Scorsese's like
walking around.
He's like telling people something I lie because I don't want to not have it. I'm like, if I have an answer now.
Oh my gosh, that's great. He's gonna come
this
back.
was my chance.
We gotta tag him on this.
Just
and be like,
convince
what?
him
That kid
about
lied
this
to me?
Hasid thing. I write a movie about the Hasids based on the information I just made up. Pitch it to him.
100 complaints. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. That's great. Okay, so Hasidic is top tier Jewish religion.
Top tier. That's like what you see, like the Payette, which was the thing that Scorsese asked me about. I still don't have the answer to his question.
Like, why do
I
they
didn't
have
even
them?
look up. Like, that's how much I didn't deserve to be there. The one time my hero has a conversation with me.
Right.
He asks me a question. I lie about knowing the answer, and then I don't even look up the answer.
And you still haven't looked it up.
I still haven't looked it up.
Travis, you want to help us out?
What is the question? What the they're for?
What the Payette are for. Right. I should know this too because for a period of my life, I was tier down.
You were Orthodox.
Okay.
Orthodox. Gotcha. Which does not have the Payette or do?
Well, a lot of people at my Orthodox synagogue growing up would have been considered Hasidic.
Okay. I mean, because I understand it's a spectrum, right?
And they didn't even look at me as a Jew.
Is that right?
Even like during like the Orthodox period of my life, I was like barely.
You still
a Jew
weren't good
in their
enough.
Eyes.
Why?
Well,
why is that?
Interesting twist. The thing I kind of keep under wraps is my mom converted.
Oh, to Judaism.
My mom was Catholic.
Interesting.
Raised Catholic, converted
for your
before
father.
I was born. I guess so. Like,
I mean, why else? Yeah.
Yes, but also like became way more religious than my dad.
In the Jewish faith.
In the Jewish.
Yeah.
Like,
okay.
Like, was the much more religious.
Interesting. Of the two.
I mean, she was raised very religiously Catholic.
Right. So
when she switched to religiously Jewish,
she took the same fervor.
And brought it into the Judaism. We lived 3 miles away from our synagogue. We would walk.
Yeah.
We would walk to get there in the fucking Florida heat in a fucking suit.
Yeah.
Which was like,
wow.
My mom would be, it was wild.
Yeah. So how much of the Mosaic Law still carries into today's Judaism?
Mosaic Law?
Right. Okay. So like in Mosaic Law, my understanding is there were a certain number of steps. Mosaic Law got, as far as I understand it, incredibly...
Define Mosaic Law to me.
Persnickety, right? Like, so the Old Testament is like the first 5 books, right, of the Christian Old Testament make up part of the Torah, right? And as far as I understand, there were laws in the first 5 books of the Old Testament. Once you get into Exodus and that outlined do's and do nots in the Mosaic Law, right? Like eating non-hooved or cleft-footed animals, right?
Did not do that.
And then there were a number of steps that you could take on the Sabbath before it was considered work, which you could not do. Is that accurate or is that
which
inaccurate?
I always had like a very weird feelings about like the things that are work.
Sure.
Because like meditating to me is work.
Yeah.
Not using electricity is work.
A lot more. Yeah.
I feel like I'm doing a lot of work not to work on the Sabbath.
Yeah.
Like had God had electricity on the 7th day,
He would have used it?
He would have been watching football.
That would have been his day of rest.
Yeah. That's like what do you do on Sunday? You
Sure.
chill and you watch.
Sure.
Actually, Saturday is the day of rest, so you can still watch football.
Yeah.
We at this point Monday is the start of the week. Monday is day 1.
Right.
Can we get real?
I mean, that's the way my Google Calendar's set up. So. Okay.
Yeah, I actually so I was raised Orthodox. I
Yep.
got bar mitzvahed, and then my family.
And what does that mean, bar mitzvahed?
It's when I became a
man. At 12?
officially.
Is that the
Yep, I
age
was ready.
typically?
I was able to start having sex and doing drugs,
Drinking.
Driving.
That's just the way it goes for Jews.
At 13, pedophilia. Do not. It is our religious beliefs that we can have sex with 13-year-olds.
And no discrimination. Well, I mean, 13-year-olds, it's not.
Do you know Andrew Yerman Glasser?
No.
Comic. He has a funny scene.
I
He has
do.
a funny joke. He's
Yeah, Travis, you know him?
Yeah, I know.
he has a funny joke about he's like at age 13, it's like you became a man, and I was like, oh, this is weird that this is a man, but really when you're a Jew, 13's like the manliest you ever get.
By the way, I have the answer for why the Payette is a thing.
Okay.
It comes from a biblical interpretation that says that you shall not round off the Payette of your head, and they interpreted that as the hair from the ears to the cheekbone. So
Gotcha.
it was Leviticus 19:27. You shall not round off the Payette of your head.
Interesting.
I had
Gonna
no idea what that means.
Gonna send
There you
this
go.
podcast. I still
You're
don't.
gonna send
I still
this to
don't.
Martin
It's
Scorsese.
weird. You just read the answer, and I still don't have an answer.
What do you mean? That was it. It's in the Bible.
It said it was loosely interpreted, and they just kind of ran with it.
Everything is loosely
'Cause it's-
interpreted. At least like okay. Why now? I'm non-religious,
Right.
now.
So yeah.
So my family went from Orthodox, and then when I turned 13, in large part because there was a general sense from my mother that we weren't accepted by the synagogue.
Oh, okay.
In large part because she converted.
Oh, gotcha. But she didn't ever openly talk about it. They all just knew?
I mean, she converted at the synagogue.
Oh, so they knew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, she went hardcore.
Yeah. And they were like, you can try as hard as you want, you goy, but
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
not
yeah,
getting
yeah,
in.
yeah. So
Interesting. Okay.
So I mean, well, she got in. They did convert.
Well, I
her.
mean, obviously, but as far as
there
social
was,
acceptance.
Yeah, there was like she felt weird treatment. I was like a kid. I didn't really know
who cares?
anything.
Right.
But,
right. But she
they
didn't feel
They made me
comfortable.
take a different class than everyone. No, I'm kidding.
Just alone. Listen up, you half goy. You're gonna go over here.
So then we switched to conservative.
Yeah.
Which is like the step down.
Okay.
Which like you can which ultimately, to be completely honest, was what we always really kind of were.
You make it sound so official, but these are unofficial
These
moves,
are unofficial
right?
things. Yeah, well, we switched synagogues, you know.
Okay.
See, we
So
were
there
going
is-
to we were going to the Orthodox.
Yeah,
Well, then we
yeah.
started driving to synagogue.
Uh-huh.
Like my mom had like koshered our house, like
Gotcha.
separated all our silverware, meat and dairy.
Wow.
We had 2 ovens, one for cooking meat,
Yes.
one for cooking dairy. I wouldn't have eaten the cheeseburger we had
Yeah,
before
right,
doing
right.
this at 11 o'clock in the morning.
Right. As one who is healthy would. Yeah.
So there were like a whole process of like a rabbi coming to like bless like
Right.
our stuff and like
Right.
examine
Wow.
and make sure that like it was a
It was
kosher
kosher.
household.
Yeah.
We would like build a sukkah in our backyard for
Okay, and so what's the
Sukkot.
sukkah?
Man, I'm such a bad Jew. My ability to answer the meaning of any of these questions.
It's a fire oven. Okay.
Did I just pot smoke all these memories away? I don't even smoke pot much anymore. Well,
But you did enough,
But I
apparently.
did enough that I just smoked my entire religious.
So then you moved
foundation away.
conservative.
We moved conservative. We would start driving to synagogue.
Yeah.
My dad always was like kind of bad at the kosher thing. And
Okay.
we would sort of not keep kosher out of the house. Like we
Yeah.
still wouldn't eat cheeseburgers
Yeah.
and like we wouldn't eat bacon and
But you're not
stuff.
going to like inconvenience a restaurant or something.
Yeah.
to get
And we would go eat
kosher
out.
stuff, yeah.
But so we kind of stopped being kosher when we
Okay.
switched.
Yeah.
I tried to keep it going for a little longer. I broke on a school field trip where we like stayed overnight at this hotel and they had a continental breakfast and I smelled the bacon and I broke. I filled up an entire plate with bacon.
Wow.
And ate just bacon,
Yeah.
then went and got more. Got so disgustingly sick. Because of
punishment. Just divine punishment.
I didn't even it's so funny how like removed I was from the idea that it was divine punishment.
You were just, yeah.
I was like lying there sick. My mom was like, "What can I get for you?" I was like, "Bacon."
like a heroin addict.
Like a heroin addict.
Please, more. Oh, my gosh.
But then I dated a rabbi's daughter.
Wow.
In
Okay.
high school, my like high school girlfriend
Yeah.
Nice.
was a rabbi's daughter. I've dated rabbi's daughters since
Of course you have.
since high school.
You animal. Now, let me ask you
They-
this, because in Mormon culture...
The funny thing is, they don't even really like me. I like them. It's always been me
Pursuing them.
pursuing
Yes,
them.
the
They're-
divinity
They
that
make
is
it
there.
so hard for me.
Of course. But that's why, I don't know, there's a huge, like, hard to get thing for guys, right? Where that's even more attractive when they, like, hate you almost.
Yeah, I guess so.
I don't know.
know.
There was a girl in college,
There are plenty
or
of
a
people
woman
who
in college
hate me
that I
I
knew.
don't like.
That's so funny. So is there a reputation among rabbis, daughters, and kids that they're like, what? Miscreants almost?
No, they're well, like the one I dated in high school, she was the valedictorian.
Oh, all
of
right.
high
So she was doing
school.
pretty good for herself.
Yeah, like I said, I like
Yeah.
intelligent.
Yeah.
Woman with good taste in movies.
Yes.
Large breasts, thin waistline.
Yes, of course. Very top
Shaven
heavy. We
legs.
get it. Yeah.
Well structured
Yeah.
face.
Yeah. I mean, this is a very low bar. I don't understand why you haven't
Yeah,
found
why am I
anybody.
still single?
And only Jews. You only date Jews.
No.
I know. I was just kidding.
Actually, another funny thing, I dated a very non-Jewish girl after college.
Define very not Jewish.
Her mom, I was lying in bed with her. With
Okay.
her. And she's talking to her
Fully
mom.
clothed.
Her mom, for the sake of your listeners, fully clothed. And she's on the phone with her mom, and I can hear her mom on the receiver.
Yeah.
And her mom goes, "So, how's the Jew?"
All right, I get your definition stands.
Oh my god.
And I looked at her and I was like, "The Jew?"
The Jew?
And she's like, "Mom, you can't call him that." But clearly she was just saying that there. That's like what her name for me
Yeah, that was it. I'm dating a Jew.
She's probably talking to her when I'm not around, like, "So the Jew."
The Jew did this.
I was also a professional magician at the time, so
Oh
I was
my
like
gosh.
really feeding into definite stereotypes that family
Yeah.
had about the Jewish magician. Which honestly, what was Jesus anyway?
Oh my goodness. Oh,
she was
my
basically
goodness.
dating Jesus.
Sure.
A basically virgin Jewish magician.
How often did you make coins appear behind people's ears? That feels like
yeah.
too much.
Oh my goodness. That's hilarious.
I immediately went home. I called my mom. I was like, "You're never gonna believe what the goy called me."
Oh, got him. Man, that's funny. Yeah.
But wait, where was I going with that? Oh yeah.
Yeah, who you date.
When we broke, she was like gorgeous.
Yeah.
I was like obsessed.
Gorgeous. Yeah.
I was like obsessed.
Yeah.
But when we broke up, my mom was like, "All right, well, now that you got that out of your system."
Oh, wow.
And I was like, "Got that out of my system."
She was one of those.
Yeah, I was like, I just did heroin for the first time. It's like, well, now that you've tried that, you can start living a drug-free life.
Yeah. So you've never gone back then? Just still on the heroin, still chasing that high.
I don't know. It's weird. I'm like in the first time in my life, just like very uninterested in dating.
Interesting.
I mean, which makes me think it'll happen now.
Yeah, right. Well,
But,
for sure.
Yeah. I'm very focused on the comedy. It's hard. The idea of like doing comedy every night and maintaining a relationship with a non-comedian, because I really don't want to date a comedian.
Yeah.
Is like, who am I gonna
Who
like
do
a
you meet
mortician?
now?
Like I don't know, like
A fan?
who's working nights that I can hang out with during the day when I have to work to also work to provide for myself so I can do stuff at night.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It'll happen or it won't.
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I don't
be out
care
there.
about. The funny thing is, I don't really care about dating a Jew. The benefits, I do see two benefits to it. There's like a cultural understanding.
Yeah.
And they have money. No, they can provide for me.
Sure.
No, and it would make my parents would be happy.
Yeah.
Like it's definitely a benefit that my parents like. I'm not trying to make my parents unhappy with who I bring home, but that's obviously like one of the lowest things on my.
But it would be nice.
It would be nice. Yeah. It's always like, oh my god, like it's always like
if it works out,
it's a slight benefit.
Yeah, for sure. If you got a choice between two.
If they were
otherwise equal,
it's like if they were
options,
equal and I had
then-
to pick one, and that'd be like the thing that put them over.
You'd pick the Jew.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay. So your parents are still religious?
They still go to the conservative synagogue. I would really define my parents as reformed now. It's been like a steady
down?
slope
Okay.
down.
Sure.
The reformed synagogues are some of the most fun. There's like people playing music
Yeah,
and stuff. And
yeah.
They just like flick the lights. No. 100 times.
Yeah. They're just going crazy.
But it was always fun going to reform synagogues.
Yeah. A little looser.
When I would go, it was always looser.
Yeah.
My like grandparents were like reformed. So
Oh, okay.
Also interesting. When I was a kid,
Yeah.
and like my mom's Italian,
Okay.
so when I was a kid, like Scorsese and De Palma and
Sure.
Coppola were like my favorite filmmakers.
Sure.
Like film is my other passion.
Yeah.
I very much was like trying to lean into my Italian identity much more than my Jewish identity.
Interesting.
Even though I was more religiously Jewish than I am now.
Yeah.
And now that I'm out here in like a comic, I try to hide the fact that like
That
my
you were
mom
Italian.
converted
Yeah.
and that I'm Italian.
I'm
I lean
100%
hardcore.
Jewish. Yeah,
I am
right.
100% Jew. What are you trying to say, Seth? Very. You trying to say, Seth?
Hey.
I felt very Italian.
Don't let me get my cousin Anthony, Fat Anthony. I actually do have a cousin named Fat Tony.
Fat Tony. Of course you do.
Don't let me let him know what
Fat
the fuck
Tony.
you been.
He's gonna come for you.
Huh? Who's not a Jew? Who you saying's not a Jew, Seth?
You questioning my identity?
You look my cousin in the eye and you tell him he's 100% Jewish.
Oh my goodness. So what drove you away from the Jewish faith? You said you consider yourself not religious.
So in college I studied film and philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
I would definitely say these heretic colleges, these liberal cesspool colleges.
Yeah. They influenced you.
Yeah, I don't know. The more I started reading philosophy, the more I started like just doing drugs. The more I turned away from. The more I stared having sex
easier
with
it got.
prostitutes.
Right.
It's like, what this religion stuff doesn't
what is
let me
this
do
about?
any of this.
Yeah.
Well, no. I think an interesting thing. I think one of the interesting things about the Jewish faith, and I'm definitely still culturally Jewish.
Sure.
And I still.
So you observe holidays?
I still observe.
Okay.
certain holidays to my convenience. I don't do it every year.
All right.
But like things I do fast on Yom Kippur every year.
Okay. And Yom Kippur is to celebrate what?
It's the day of repenting for your sins.
Yeah.
I think there's value. There's definitely value in me not eating for a day.
So does that does that relate to like the year of Jubilee or no?
I don't think so.
Okay,
but maybe.
I don't know. I'll have to ask Liz Glazer when I have her on a couple weeks.
It's the day of she's married to a rabbi.
Is that right?
Yeah, we have a line, or not married, dating a rabbi.
Yeah.
I guess I shouldn't out that. It's not my place to say.
Well, you know. I'll talk to her about it.
If you don't know Liz Glazer is a lesbian, I don't think you're paying attention. That's
yeah,
or you've never met her.
Right.
She talks about it in our act. It's
not to be confused with Nikki Glazer, or maybe to be. I don't know.
Again,
I love
you get
Liz.
them confused,
Liz is one of my
you've never met
favorite comics and people in LA.
Yeah.
Oh,
Us
she's
Jews stick
She's
together.
very nice.
She likes me, even though I'm not a filthy Jew.
But
just slight racism from slight anti-Semitism from our camera guy.
You hear that a lot at the fourth wall. Usually not from the host.
Yeah, Travis keeps it under wraps.
Oh yeah, I keep it deep down,
where it should be, with your racist grandma.
But it's a day where you're supposed to like think about things you've done, people you've done wrong to.
Yeah,
like it's like to repent. But the funny thing is, I get like real like low blood sugar. Like when I don't eat and I get become a monster.
Yeah, like normal.
So usually
like a
on
normal
Yom
person.
Kippur, I'm repenting for the things I did last
that
Yom
day.
Kippur. I actually have like a very bad joke about it.
Meaning not
Ramadan,
funny or inappropriate.
The monster inappropriate.
Yeah.
Probably not funny. Maybe a little racist.
We'll let the listeners decide. Sure.
But Yom Kippur, like the monster I turn into that day where I'm not eating.
Yeah.
Like Ramadan, they fast for 30 days.
Yeah.
Like that's why there's Muslim extremism. They're all just hangry. Like the whole 9/11 probably could have been avoided if someone just gave Bin Laden a Snickers.
I mean, they're not taking like 30 days. Not.
Yeah, they're doing more of like an intermittent fast.
But that's what Yom Kippur is. You don't eat sunrise to you don't eat from sundown to the next sundown.
Right. It's a full 24 hours.
Full 24 hours.
Yeah,
so I think they're like Ramadan, something similar to that.
Yeah, I think so.
Anyway, the joke is bad.
Well,
I mean, no, the joke's okay.
It's fine.
It's an okay joke.
It's fine.
Just
it's maybe
playing
cheap,
on,
but it's fine.
Cheap, and there's way more radical white terrorism now. I don't know, whatever the liberals want me to say. I'm liberal.
What will make
I'm
you
liberal.
happy?
I'm not.
White kids are shooting more schools. There we go.
I wonder. Do people start treating like white kids in high school like we treat Muslims at the airport?
They should. I mean, if there's anybody you should be more scared of.
Profiling.
I know. I mean, I don't think they have started that, but they should. Right? They're clearly the more at-risk population.
But interesting. Like I think so. One of the things I think is really interesting about Judaism, one of the reasons I really do like embrace the culture of it.
Yeah.
I'm agnostic. I'm not atheist.
Sure.
But I have like a very weird. It's not even a weird belief. I think it's a very logical belief.
Well, of course you think it's logical. Yeah.
I'm a very logic-based person.
Yes.
But if I was forced to like pick what God is,
say in the Crusades or something.
I'd be fighting. I'd be like Don Quixote.
Yeah. No. Okay. So you're forced. say you're forced to pick.
Yeah. I just think that like much like there are atoms and neutrons like deep inside of our body, and like blood cells, like red blood cells, white blood cells, like eating each other and all that. I think all the planets are just like little cell atom things and some much gianter thing. It is not I don't know what we're making up and like all the stuff we're doing is some like crazy to like serve some keeping some cell of the earth alive.
Okay. So
like
you're like more biological about it.
Yeah, I think that like it's like there's cancerous people.
Right. Right, I remember us talking
like
a little
Hitler
bit about
thought
that.
there were cancerous people.
He might have been wrong about who was cancerous.
No, but it's like, are we working to keep the earth alive and do right? Like we can, treat. I think they're like the ideals of religion. In most religions, makes certain sense when you think about it in like a way of like helping and keeping like alive and like treating the earth well and treating each other well. It's like you want to be like building up and making this a stronger.
And let's give you an external reason to do that.
And let's give you
like
an
judgment
external
or
reason.
whatever, right?
You can only
to be good.
We're all a bunch of narcissists that like see God in our image.
Yes.
But, you know,
and why shouldn't we?
I don't know. Just like, let's just do the moral things because it makes the world a better place and whatever purpose that serves to like the greater.
I mean, I understand it's dumb, but I understand. No. What a stupid idea.
It's the Book of Mormon, and if you don't think that, you're going to hell.
You can get out.
You're going to hell.
Oh, man. Interesting. Okay. I like that. Yeah.
But also, so like one of the things I really like about the Jewish religion versus all the other wrong religions, is that
of course.
It's very much a religion of questioning.
Yeah.
Like I think like a big problem I have.
That's why Moses got so frustrated.
Yeah. Well, I think a big problem I have with things like Christianity and the Muslim religion is it's like believe this or don't question this.
Yeah, or get out.
I think in a weird way, like I understand where they're coming from because lots of Jews just end up being agnostic.
Yeah, we're talking to Martin Scorsese and making up answers.
But you know, it's very much like on Passover, you do the 4 questions.
Right.
The answers don't really answer the 4 questions well, but the
open
questions
to interpretation
are interesting. And like it's also a very philosophical religion. It's like very much explore. Like I like Buddhism also. I like a lot of the ideas of that. For a brief period of my time, post bar mitzvah, I took this religious class at my synagogue where they introduced us to other religions. I became very briefly like a Buddhist Jew.
Interesting.
I got really like I was
really
really
into
attracted to like the Buddhist like
what
faith.
about the Buddhist mentality?
Man, I wish I remembered. I wish I could remember exactly what it was.
Sure.
But I just the idea of like to exist is to suffer and like, to embrace this. I mean, I think I still have a very Buddhist mentality. I'm an open mic comic. To exist is to suffer.
Right.
To perform is to suffer.
Well, and some stereotypes of the Jewish faith is that it's all like it's sort of inbred in negativity, right? Like there's a lot of suffering that goes along with being Jewish, it seems.
Oh, absolutely.
From an outsider's perspective, it's like we celebrate suffering.
Yes. Celebrate it. We remember it.
Yeah.
We remember.
Yeah,
keep saying never again, and then it happens again.
Sure. Sure. But Texas does that with the Alamo, right? The Alamo was...
Yeah, but
anyhow.
like, I think I think both have been very helpful for me. I think there's also a culture of patience.
Yeah.
We seem like impatient people, but I think it's actually we're impatient for certain things because we're so patient about other things.
Right.
There's like a story of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Joseph's father.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this recently because I was not selected for the new batch at the Improv. Which,
unbelievable.
Which let me down.
You thought you were. I mean, you were a shoo-in.
I thought it was a shoo-in.
5 times, right?
5 times.
Unbelievable.
Set of the night. Pretty much every time I got up.
And they didn't pick you?
They didn't pick me.
Who did they pick over you?
Look, everyone they picked over me is almost as good as me.
Yeah.
But I actually turned to a Jewish story.
Okay.
In feeling better about it.
Interesting.
It's the one where the 10 plagues washed over Egypt and destroyed those who are mine enemies. No.
So you're bringing locusts. Locusts will be at the Hollywood Improv.
The Booker's firstborn child will be slain.
That's the last one. That's the last one. You got to slow down.
Blood will flow from the...
so many more before
blood
that.
Blood will flow from the faucets.
There are so many more plagues. Before that one, you got to take
There will be
frogs
and pestilence at the new batch show.
Oh, my
Don't go if you know what's good for you. There will be lamb's blood on the door of the Comedy Store where I'll be performing. No. Lamb's blood on the 4th wall in Burt's. Sorry, you can bleep that out, Travis.
the rival plug. Unbelievable.
No. The actual story I thought of was Jacob. So, Jacob, like, cast out from like his father's home, like stole the birthright from Aesop
for porridge.
Yeah. Because that like, another reason we're very
Yom
good
Kippur.
at making deals. We're the best at deals. Nobody does deals like the Jews. Our culture of negotiating started then.
Sure, of course it did.
Aesop, I believe, I don't know this, but I believe that Aesop like is like one of like the Muslim forefathers.
Who?
The brother of Jacob.
Esau?
I don't know. I could be wrong.
I don't know actually.
Don't quote this. And also,
I'll talk to Zara Khan if you know Zara Khan.
Don't kill me.
She's great.
No. But so Jacob.
So you thought about Jacob.
He runs away. Afterwards, he goes to this farm where he like falls in love with this guy's daughter, and he has 2 daughters, and he falls in love with the younger daughter.
Yeah, and he gets.
And
Leah
then he's
instead
like,
of Rachel,
well,
right?
He
After 7 years.
He wants to marry her, and he's like, all right, you work for me for 7 years, I'll let you marry my daughter. Works for him for 7 years, marries the daughter at the altar, picks
older,
up the veil,
one.
and it's you know, he's disappointed just like I'd be if I got the less attractive, less intelligent, less good taste in movies daughter.
But older daughter. Yeah.
She like Hollywood would have been very upset. He was like Hollywood. He was like the first Hollywood, and she was like an old woman, a woman over 30.
There you go.
And he was very disappointed by the casting.
I can't cast you.
He was very disappointed with the casting of his wife.
Right.
The metaphors begin.
What have you done?
Begin the anti-Semitic.
So how did this
metaphor.
story bring you comfort?
No, so he does that, and then the guy's like, "Arr!" He's like very mad, and the guy's like, "Well, here's the deal."
Yeah, another 7 years.
And they say that the Jews are going to make deals, but this guy's like, work for me for another 7 years.
Yeah,
I'll let you marry the other.
Yeah.
Seems like we made a bad deal there.
For love, though. You let emotion get in the way.
So I look at it like the new bad. Like, I didn't get it this time.
But next time.
But I got to do the next 7 years. And then if they don't do it, then I bring the pestilence and the fire and the blood. Or maybe it's the story. What's the
Joseph?
Job. Book of Job. Yeah. They took away everything from me.
Yeah.
5 sets of the nights. No
callback. No invitation.
New batch.
Yeah.
I've lost everything.
Well, you'll get double fold.
I can't lose my faith.
You'll get twofold
in comedy
because
it was
the improv.
All taken from me.
Right. Well, I mean, in any contest as a straight white male, you're down a rung.
So yeah. Well, I don't. I disagree.
You do?
Yeah. Well,
Good.
because and I'll give you my honest thoughts about this. Like,
yeah,
you know, I went to an expensive college. My parents paid for college. I've had so many advantages to be where I am right now.
Sure.
Like any handicap you can give me is
it's
only
fine.
leveling.
Yeah.
Like I'm able to, like. The done I'd be living at home if I had tons of college debt. I'm barely paying my bills with none.
Right.
Barely.
Right.
I am like a loser.
Yeah. Of course you are.
A failure of a Jew. No, I've had so many opportunities, and like definitely for most of my life didn't have to deal with people, like got to use the advantage of people looking at me like a white Jewish guy.
Yeah.
Only right now are people like, we got to give some stuff to other people. But they're still thinking the same thing about me.
Sure.
Many of these people are still thinking the same thing.
Sure.
So it's like, just like, all right, well, we want this guy because of all the shallow reasons in our head that we think he's better. Yeah. Also, he's better.
Right. Of course.
But it'd be better if we hire this. I don't get mad about any of it.
Yeah.
You know,
you just have to keep going, right?
I've legitimately had, the patience. You know, like literally, I look at all of it like all I can do. Yeah. All I have control over is that I'm working as hard as anyone can work at the things I want to do. Yeah. So as long as I don't feel like anybody's outworking me,
you're good.
I'm fine. Yeah. I'm doing everything I can.
Yeah. And you are working hard. Josh is a fantastic comedian. Anything you want to plug that's coming up for you before we close out?
So I've made a documentary about my favorite Jewish comedian.
Oh, interesting.
I mean, he's my favorite comedian in general.
Right.
He happens,
just
to,
happens
be
to be Jewish. Right.
Maybe it's part of why I identify with him so much. This guy named Al Lubell. The documentary's called Mentally Al. Hopefully it stays that way. I don't know when it's coming out. I'm trying to get it into some festivals.
Nice.
It's hard being a straight white male to get into these festivals. It's really unfair. It's very difficult. I'm very upset about it.
Stop. We had our time. Yeah. Funny's funny.
Al is a genius. Gary Goldman, and the other day someone asked Gary Goldman, what's your favorite stand-up bit you've ever heard? He said one of Al's bits, and then said Al Lubell's the most underrated comedian that he knows.
Look at that.
So Gary Goldman plugged it too.
So there you go.
You should follow my Edelman tips on Twitter at the Edelmeister.
Yes.
I'm doing my own stand-up tips.
Fantastically, grammatically correct. Twitter
they
tips
are
and
grammatically
tweets.
correct things. They're very funny.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're like reverse Goldman tips. You should follow me at the Edelmeister on Twitter and Instagram. It's where you can see all the shows I plugged. I got one show in June. It happened already.
It's gonna be good. Yeah,
I think, probably get some more coming. It's tough competing with all these women and minorities to get shows. When you're a straight white male comic.
It's just so tough. It's so tough out there.
It's so tough.
Yeah.
I made a web series called Best Friends Web Series. It's got like 300 views an episode. Literally hundreds of views, guys. You should. It's blowing. It's got literally hundreds of views online.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Check it out. Definitely some things that didn't age as well as,
lots of racism.
Aged. Considering the place the world is headed, and not all of it's aged as well as I would have liked, but I still am very proud of the show. We won a bunch of festivals, and like I said, it's got literally hundreds of views.
So, good. And they can find that on YouTube?
On YouTube. Okay. Bestfriendswebseries.com will take you right to the YouTube page. Nice. And I may be starting my own podcast. We'll see. I'm doing a test run. It's called Edelman Hates Everything.
Yeah.
People keep going, isn't there a show called Adam Hates Everything? No, it's Adam Ruins Everything.
Adam Ruins
My
Everything.
show is different, but it might not exist, so I might be plugging a thing that doesn't exist. We'll see how the first episode goes.
Yeah.
But if it goes anything like all the other podcasts I do, it's going to be the funniest podcast of all time, guys.
It's great. It's great.
So yeah, that's all the stuff of mine that I'm plugging. None of it is done well. But I keep doing it.
It's good. This is good. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for coming on,
Thank you so
Josh.
much for having me, Seth.
It was a pleasure. I could talk to you for hours.
I
We'll
could
have you back probably.
Yes, definitely
But
do.
Thank you so much. Thanks for tuning in. Travis, you got anything coming up?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Not that I can remember, if I'm being honest.
You're high right now.
Not as high as I'd like to be. You know what I mean?
Well, guys, that's it for Disorganized Religion today, but we'll be back. Peace.